baby, listen to me speak, yeah. No matter what, just let it fly.
Pop, Perswayable. My girlfriend got tired of my puns, so she locked me out of the house. So I knocked on the door and I said, "Open the door!" That's so stupid. Just like my videos. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. What's going on, everybody? So that's an awful dad joke, but whatever. Good to see you all. I can't actually see you. I feel awkward right now. I don't know why. I don't know. Feel awkward. I feel like I just screwed up this whole introduction. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you see somebody and you want to strike up a conversation and you don't really know what to say. It's just, I like your face. And that's okay. Anyways, we'll just move on. I'm really awkward in this video already. I'm kind of uncomfortable. If any of you feel uncomfortable, I feel uncomfortable. All right, so this is Enchantress. Jesus, I really need help. All right, so this is an Enchantress really bullying this Mad Eyes. First of all, I want to give a shout out to this hunter. You have to have gonads in order to choose Mad Eyes on this map, on White Asylum. To choose Mad Eyes on White Asylum, one could say, you've gone mad. Oh, it's so cringy. Oh, I got goosebumps. It's awful. All right, so let's see what the Enchantress can do. Enchantress is going to be running around, doing her thing. And Enchantress is just, my God, when I'm a hunter, I can't stand Enchantress. She gets rewarded for playing bad. I've never seen a character like this. Oh, yeah, you get hit. How about we reward you for getting hit? Not, by the way, not the player. I always talk about the characters, ladies and gentlemen. And so here we go. We have a Mad Eyes going after Mechanic. Beautiful juke right there. You can see that she went to the left. Probably a little bit of unfamiliarity with this map. I think I just said that word wrong, but whatever. And we have Enchantress kind of relocating a little bit. Let's see what the Mechanic can do here. Mechanic is going to try to use these pallets to her advantage. He's just stopped. Is he? Oh, he used Blinkity. Oh, Mad Eyes has to work on that blink a little bit. Woo! Stopping, standing still like that. That's That's very, very interesting. A lot of the... then here we go. Let's just move on. Enchantress is going to do her bullying. Good juke. Good... Oh, hits the wall. This is just brutal. Good jukes from the Enchantress. Enchantress is going to go back. And this is really a lot of... This can be very difficult, man. I feel bad for this Mad Eyes right now. I've been there before. Every time you want to pick up somebody up, going to go in for the stun. Gets the stun. Mechanic is back up. And this is buying a lot of time. Mechanic actually is not back up. She's down, but Enchantress is still not hit. Enchantress finally got hit, but that rewards the Enchantress with her ability. So she's going to run back, and he's going to have to put her down again. And remember, every time this Mad Eyes has to drop the Mechanic, every time he picks her back up, she can struggle free. However, thankfully, to the Mad Eyes' advantage, there is a rocket chair right next to him and is able to get that Mechanic down. And they're already at 2 ciphers. This is why it can be very difficult to play on this map. It can be difficult in general. Just being a hunter. And so now he's going to do a good job at blocking this off. We're going to see what the Mercenary can pull off. He's going to go in for that charged attack. Mercenary realizes this is my opportunity. Walls go down. Let me get off of this. Does a good job making sure he doesn't get terror shocked. And Mercenary is eventually going to go down, but he's going to body block for this Mechanic. Good job. He already knows he's going to go down. Takes another 3rd hit. Very good job right there. Now he's going to block the Mad Eyes. That was a beautiful move from the Mercenary. Very, very good job. Mechanic is going to throw this down. Let's see how she kites in this area. Be careful of that charged attack. Let's see what she does here. She seems to be running around. She's trying to tight kite, but he's going to... Yep. Beautiful job from the Mad Eyes. Was able to body block that 360 juke. And Enchantress is back over here doing the bullying that she is very well known for. Some of the, I think the number 2 overall Chinese player for Survivor is an Enchantress main, if I recall that correctly. So Enchantress can be a very, very deadly character. She's still not an S-tier character. We would categorize her as an A-tier character as of now. she isn't primarily banned. Seer is primarily banned. Mechanic is primarily banned. Sometimes Mercenary is primarily banned, and Perfumer has a higher selection rate than what the Enchantress does, actually. But she is a solid A tier character, and A tier is quantified as a character that is really, really good, right? Just because a character is not S tier doesn't mean that you can't use them in top competitive gameplay. She's used all the time in top competitive gameplay, but she's just not banned. Sometimes she is banned third round, but not enough to actually quantify her as anything more dangerous than Prospector. Some people ban Prospector in the third round. Some ban Enchantress. Most like to ban Mercenary. Everybody has their own separate flavors and different strategies regarding preventing that rescue. But this is one of the issues here. Look at this constant bullying and just buying the team a whole bunch of time. And a little mistake right there, threw the pallet down, and unfortunately wasn't able to escape the Mad Eyes right there. We have very slow decoding right now, and that's what one of the negative qualities of this team comp is that they were doing very good. They were down to 2 ciphers approximately, I think, 3 minutes and possibly 20 seconds into the footage, which also includes that long introduction, right? That doesn't include my intro. And I think it takes them over 9.5 minutes. After this whole footage, guys, is around 13 minutes. About 3 minutes and 20 seconds in, they were down to 2 ciphers, and then after that, they just stopped. And it might be a little bit of a combination of the survivors just trying to bully the hunter for as long as possible, or it may actually be that Mad Eyes was able to do a relatively good job at trying to really keep people sequestered. But I don't think that's really the case. I think the survivors are just seeing how long that they can bully this this poor Mad Eyes, especially on White Asylum. White Asylum, I'd rather play on Ever Sleep in Town before White Asylum. I think White Asylum is by far the worst map in this game. I don't like it. I don't like playing it, and I really wish that I could ban it. I really wish that as a hunter I could ban a map. That would be really good, because it's not enjoyable. As a hunter, it's not enjoyable. Unless you play Spider, it's just not enjoyable whatsoever. Right there, Acrobat ends up getting hit right there. That was kind of a funny move, though. I'm sure he had a little bit of fun. And they're really in a big pickle here. We got 3 people down. Well, now we have 3 people down. We have the Enchantress that's still up. And we're going to see, she does her stun and is able to prevent that mechanic. Now, Enchantress is a monster on White Asylum. A monster on White Asylum if you know how to use it correctly, because you can keep stunning like this right through a wall. And this is why some people want Enchantress to be nerfed. I mean, if you think about it, objectively speaking, it takes really no skill to do it. You just tap a button. That's all you're doing, right? And good for her. It's fun to do it as an Enchantress, but as a hunter, it's now to the point where you feel like survivors are the hunter. Survivors are the one hunting the hunter. How does that make any sense? So this is where a lot of complaints come into play. And then the devs are put in this awkward situation where everybody spent money, they purchased Enchantress, or they got her through the logic path, whatever the case is with your points. And then when you decide to nerf them, you upset a whole player base, and some people, they're consumers, they'll say, okay, I'm not invested in the game anymore. But I say it's all garbage. It doesn't matter. You got to worry about the balance of the game. And it's getting to the point where you have characters like this character in Prospector. The idea of asymmetrical gameplay is that hunters are supposed to hunt. And now the game is starting to transform into this sort of, all right, survivors are going to hunt the hunter. But what's interesting is that over in the Chinese server, the top hunters, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them hover between 50 and 85% win rate. So they're still winning regardless of these characters. Whereas a lot of the top Chinese survivors, their win rates, most of them don't actually go above 55%. Believe it or not, the best players, a lot of the top Chinese survivors are between 45 and 55% respectively. You know, there's a few that's at 55 and 65, but the majority of them, the top ones, they're around 45 to 55%. And so it really questions the balance system where a lot of the top players are still able to overcome this sort of gameplay that we're seeing here. And that's where it's really difficult for the devs because, you know, you got the U.S. market who plays completely different than the other market. But the thing is that the Chinese market is 10 times the size of ours. I mean, if you go over there, you go into their main Chinese language, they have 10 chats. They have 10 chats. You go in there, you're in like room number 10. Over in the U.S., it's, you know, we pretty much have one room we're all confined in. I think when it came to the Call of Abyss, tournament, I think we had, on YouTube alone, we had about 1,000 to 1.5 thousand active viewers at all times. So eventually we had over 100,000 viewers for the duration of the Call of Abyss 1, Call of Abyss 2, but the first day of tournaments, right? But over in China, I think they had like 6.5K active viewers at all time on their YouTube, all right? And that doesn't include Facebook and other social media channels. So usually when we look at these sorts of characters, we're not only looking at what's going on in the U.S., we're looking at what is the bigger market doing. We only have a few people who are in tier 6. Over there, they have plenty of them. They have tier 6 in every character, technically. So most characters. So we do a lot of reverting back to the Chinese meta to see what they're doing, just because their market is bigger. So with a larger sample size, the data is more consistent. Just only looking at the U.S. market is not always an accurate way to depict characters and such. But regardless of such, Enchantress is an animal. Those little stuns, they are just super annoying for me as a hunter. They really can allow you to move away, and see this, allowing that distance to get to the pallet, to get... premature hit from the Mad Eyes. Yeah, sometimes I try to do my best to narrate the play-by-play, but sometimes it's better. Again, I did this in the last video where I said sometimes I'll do a play-by-play analysis, and then sometimes you guys can figure out what's happening in the game, and we can talk about the broader spectrum relative to the characters being played or certain things that we're seeing and learning lessons of all that. But what I want to say is I want to thank the Enchantress for submitting this video. It was a pretty good match, and the Enchantress does end up dying here, and then the video will get cut off before we can see what happens with the Mercenary. But yeah, there was a lot of bullying going on in this match. Mad Eyes ultimately was able to do their thing, but if they played this more seriously, there's a good chance that Mad Eyes was going to lose that match, because they were down to 2 ciphers within the first 3 minutes and like 20 seconds of gameplay. And really, it just took them, the last 9 minutes, they didn't really do any decoding. I think that they just wanted to have fun, which is totally cool. That's what happens in general. So we'll see what happens here. Actually, no, Enchantress does get away. Enchantress gets away from that, so good job for Mercenary. I actually have a lot of respect for that. During, like, the general matches, I actually don't care about dungeon. I don't really care about the dungeon, because you're in general. Like, who cares? You're in a regular quick match. And you have people who go super tryhard, and I'm like, yo, that's the time to like try to pull off like a miracle move. Like, who cares? It's quick match. So I actually have a lot of respect for that Mercenary doing that right there. But anyways, a little content about Enchantress relative to both of our servers and where she currently stands. She's an A-tier character. And yeah, definitely tell me your thoughts. Good gameplay, a lot of bullying there, and good perseverance from the Mad Eyes for not giving up. All around great footage. Thank you for submitting it. Have a good day, guys.